Our planet is it's a living, breathing world, right? We've got these huge mountains, super deep oceans, and crazy storms. And it's also just packed with these incredible mysteries. That's where Earth science comes in. It gives us the tools to basically play detective, to piece together all the clues and solve the planet's biggest cases. So let's dive in and see exactly how it's done.
All right, and just a quick heads up, this is part of a bigger series all about Earth sciences from Virtualization Options LLC. Today, though, we're zeroing in on probably the single most important tool in any scientist's entire toolkit.
Okay, think about this for a second. Have you ever really looked at a world map? Have you ever noticed how the bulge of South America seems to fit, perfectly into the curve of Africa? It's one of those things that once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's a clue, right? A giant planetary breadcrumb.
So that's the big question, isn't it? Our planet is just full of these puzzles. We've got all these clues lying around, coastlines that match up, fossils of the same animal found on totally different sides of the world. But how do we actually solve them? How do you go from just noticing something interesting to a real, solid explanation? How do you build a case?
Well, to solve these puzzles, scientists have this special toolkit. Think of it as a tried-and-true method for turning simple curiosity into actual knowledge. It's basically the engine that drives all of science, and it lets us make sense of our constantly changing world. And that toolkit is called the scientific method. At its heart, it's just a systematic way to ask and answer questions. The important thing to remember is it's not about having all the answers right away. Nope. It's about having a reliable process for finding them. And this is where it gets really fun. Let's just think of it as detective work. It's like the Earth is the crime scene, totally full of evidence. And scientists, they're the detectives, carefully piecing together what in the world happened. So, what does this detective work actually look like? Well, it breaks down into 4 key steps. First, you observe the scene and find the clues. Simple enough. Second, you form a hypothesis. That's like naming your prime suspect. Third, you test that idea, which means you go out and gather a ton of evidence. And finally, if the evidence is just overwhelming, you build your case. And in science, that solid case, that's what we call a theory. Okay, let's put this into practice. We're going to apply this exact process to our first big mystery, the case of the moving continents. Seriously, this is one of the greatest detective stories in the entire history of science. So step 1, find the clues. And boy, were there clues, just scattered all over the globe. You had those matching coastlines, of course, but then geologists started finding even more stuff. They found identical fossils from the same land animals on continents now separated by thousands of miles of ocean. And maybe even more amazing, they found entire mountain ranges that would just stop at a coastline and then pick up again on a completely different continent across the sea. Wild. Okay, so you've got all these clues. Scientists like Alfred Wegener looked at all this and they named their prime suspect. They came up with a hypothesis, an educated guess. They said, what if? What if the continents aren't stuck in one place? What if they're actually moving, just slowly drifting across the Earth's surface over millions and millions of years? Back then, that was a totally radical idea. But here's the thing. A suspect is just a suspect until you have solid evidence, right? Naming the continents as the culprits wasn't enough, not by a long shot. Scientists had to go out and gather hard, verifiable evidence to actually build their case and prove it. And the evidence they eventually found was, well, it was stunning. They started mapping the ocean floor and bam, they found the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, a massive underwater mountain range where new crust was literally being created. Then they found these symmetrical magnetic stripes on either side of the ridge, like a perfect tape recording of Earth's magnetic field flipping back and forth over millions of years. And get this, today with GPS, we can actually measure the continents moving in real time. It's slow, about the same speed your fingernails grow, but it's happening. This was the smoking gun. The theory of plate tectonics didn't just solve the puzzle of the matching coastlines. Oh no, it solved dozens of other mysteries all at once. Suddenly, it all made sense. We understood why earthquakes and volcanoes pop up in specific belts around the world. It's where the plates are crashing into each other or pulling apart. We finally understood how huge mountain ranges like the Himalayas got pushed up. It was this one powerful idea that explained so many different things. Okay, this brings us to a really, really important point. We need to talk about the word theory, because in science, it means something completely different from how we use it in everyday conversation. Look, you might say something like, I have a theory about why my favorite team lost the game last night,
What you mean is you have a hunch, a guess, but in science, a theory is pretty much the opposite of a hunch. A scientific theory is a powerful, well-supported explanation that has been tested over and over and over again, and it's backed by a mountain of evidence. It's the detective's case proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
And a really strong theory like this does more than just explain what already happened. It gives us predictive power. With plate tectonics, we can predict where future earthquakes are most likely to happen. We can understand the massive forces that are going to keep shaping our planet for millions of years. It transformed geology from just describing rocks to actually predicting what they'll do next.
So here's the real takeaway. The story of plate tectonics is, yes, absolutely incredible, but the bigger story here is about the scientific method itself. It's all about the process. It's the recipe that allows us to go from just wondering about something to having a deep, evidence-based understanding of it. It's how we separate what's real from what's just a guess.
And you know what the best part is? This powerful toolkit, it's not locked away in some university lab somewhere. It's for everyone. It's something you can use, I can use, anyone can use to better understand the world around us. I mean, think about it. Every time you look at a rocky hillside, or feel the wind blow, or watch the rain fall, you are literally observing Earth science in action. The world is a living laboratory, and it's just packed with clues and patterns that are waiting for someone to notice them. So, the scientific method isn't just for labs. It's a way of thinking, right? It's a toolkit for your own curiosity. It's about looking closely, asking good questions, really thinking about the evidence, and, this is a big one, being willing to change your mind when the facts point in a new direction. It's how you navigate a complicated world with curiosity and, a bit of clarity. So, I'll leave you with this. As you go about your day, try to keep those detectives' eyes open. Look for the patterns around you. Ask why a little more often. And remember the process we talked about. Because our planet is just full of amazing puzzles, and they're all just waiting for a curious minds like yours to start piecing them together.